Hello, this is the fourth chapter of my Pharaoh Chase fanfiction, Magnus Chase, The Ship of the Dead. Sorry for missing last week, I had a lot of stuff going on, but without further ado, this is the fanfiction. Chapter 4, Alex's POV. I stared at the poster in disbelief. Thursday, which was in 4 days, was the day of the first ever Viking dance in celebration of delaying Ragnarok. Usually, I would call these things dumb and not go, but this was not a usual time. I was going to go with Magnus. I just had to figure out how to ask him. Although dances were always cringy and horrible, I don't think going with Magnus would be bad at all. In fact, I think it could be really fun. We could dance to a slow song, I could rest my head on his shoulder, we could kiss. Nope, I'm not going there again. In fact, I don't even want to think about his perfectly dorky and infectious smile that melts my heart, or his new short and messy hair that I want to run my fingers through 1,000 times before, or his... You going to that? Mallory asked from behind, pulling me out of my trance. I don't know, I answered. I guess so. I'm going with Halfborn, obviously, so I think it could be fun. I nodded my head politely. Are you finally going to ask Magnus out? Mallory raised her eyebrows, waiting for a response. I can decapitate you in seconds. I glared daggers at Mallory. I dare you. Mallory stood up a little straighter. Hunding will be the one to clean up the mess. I groaned in frustration. Mallory knew that would piss Hunding off, making Magnus mad at me. Also, I can't stand innocent people suffering, especially from my mistakes. Watch your back on the battlefield tomorrow. I'll be waiting for you. Mallory sneered a little and walked away giggling. I laughed a bit too. Me and Mallory had a really weird relationship. We could make fun of each other and threaten each other, but laugh it off and are best friends a second later. I guess it kind of makes sense for our personalities, though. Hey, Alex. My head snapped up at the sound of Magnus's voice. Hey. My neck hurt from turning it so fast, and I winced slightly. You going to the dance? Magnus blushed and shoved his hand in his pockets. I don't know. My heart started pounding. Maybe I wouldn't have to ask him after all. If the right person asked me, I might. Cool. I looked up at Magnus for a second. Guess I'll see you there. My heart sank. Did I really miss my chance? I mean, he's not that stupid. He had to know I was basically asking him to the dance, right? Ugh, why are boys so hard? Yeah, see you later, I called after him, but I don't think Magnus heard me. Hey guys, I waved to the group when I showed up at dinner. Look who showed up. Mallory smirked at me. I was working on a new vase. I stuck my tongue out at Mallory and took my usual spot in between her and Magnus. That's cool. Although Magnus said it was cool, he couldn't have possibly looked more bored. Thank you for being the only one remotely interested in my hobbies. You're welcome. Magnus seemed to perk up a little. Everybody else at the table started their own conversations, ignoring us entirely. You know, I could teach you how to do pottery. I avoided his eyes and pretended like I was interested in my food. If you want. Sure. I looked over at him smiling and then quickly hid my excitement. That sounds good. Meet me in my room tomorrow at noon? I blushed many different shades of red. Works for me. Good. I was jumping with joy inside, running around and screaming. And don't be late. Wouldn't dream of it. He smiled and my heart melted right there. Sam walked over and started talking to me, but I was barely listening. I had a date with Magnus tomorrow at noon, and I couldn't be more excited. That was Magnus Chase, The Ship of the Dead Extended, Chapter 4. If you liked it, I'm posting every Sunday, so bye.